Surrounding the Euro 2012 football tournament, which kicks off tonight in Poland and Ukraine. Some countries boycotting the latter. For details, I'm joined by our European Affairs editor, Christophe Roby. Thanks for talking to us, Christophe. First of all, who's involved in this boycott?
Good morning, Chris. Well, the first EU member state who threatened to boycott the games in Ukraine was Germany, with Angela Merkel at the time saying, "I will not travel to Ukraine." She was then followed by France, the French government with a very clear position, saying not a single member of the cabinet would travel to Ukraine. And last but not least, yesterday, the United Kingdom, Britain, said that it would follow suit. It's important to say that there is not a single EU position on the matter, but the European Commission very early on said that it wouldn't send a single official to Ukraine. And last but not least, let's not remember that this is a boycott against Ukraine, not against Poland, the co-host, which is a fully fledged member of the European Union and which is regarded as a pillar of democracy in Eastern Europe. The relations between Ukraine and the EU have been very tense in recent weeks. The EU went as far as to cancel the signature of a key trade agreement with Kiev.
OK, and the reason for the boycott, of course, a perennially high-profile figure on the Ukrainian political scene.
Absolutely. EU leaders say they are outraged by the jailing and ill-treatment of Yulia Tymoshenko. Yulia Tymoshenko, as you know, is a former prime minister of Ukraine, one of the icons of the 2004 Orange Revolution. Now, EU leaders say that, most of them at least, say that her trial was politically motivated and was designed to allow Viktor Yanukovych, the current president of Ukraine, to neutralize his fiercest political opponent, Yulia Tymoshenko, who you can see there on the screen. Now, the sentence is based on charges that Tymoshenko overstepped her authority when she signed a deal, a gas deal with Russia, which Ukrainian authorities claim was unfair to Ukraine. But critics say that the trial was so vicious and so riddled with irregularities and violations that it was completely impossible to prove her guilt. So the EU makes it clear this is about the rule of law, or the absence of it, in Ukraine. Off the record, EU leaders will tell you they know Yulia Tymoshenko is no political innocence. She was once called the gas princess for presiding over the gas monopoly in Ukraine. She's clearly not Aung San Suu Kyi, she's not Nelson Mandela, but they say this is about the rule of law. Her trial was unfair, and this is against European values.
And the boycott, what's the reaction been like in Ukraine, both from the authorities and the public at large?
Well, quite obviously, Viktor Yanukovych, the president, has been angered by the move. He says the EU is actually applying post-Cold War tactics against his country. Ukraine, which spent billions of euros on the organization of the Euro 2012, was really hoping to seize the opportunity to shed its Soviet image and show Europe it's a modern and European nation at the heart of Europe. What will be embarrassing if on the 1st of July in Kiev, when the grand finale takes place, if you see all the VIP seats empty, this will of course be an embarrassment to the Ukrainian authorities. Now, they insist this is about the celebration of football, of sport. It shouldn't be politicized, but clearly both sides can't agree there.
Can it work, however?
Well, it's a risky move for the European Union, of course, because if you deal like this with Ukraine, what will the EU do with Russia in 2014 when Russia holds the Olympics in Sochi? Russia also has prisoners who have been called by the US political. I'm thinking of Mikhail Khodorkovsky, the oligarch. But the EU insists that it's already producing some positive effects, because Yulia Tymoshenko was allowed to temporarily leave hospital to receive treatment in a to leave the prison to receive treatment in a hospital in Kharkov. She's being treated by German doctors. There will be, of course, a lot of questions. Imagine if Britain or Germany or France end up in the finale. Will Merkel, Cameron and Hollande decide not to travel, it will be, of course, a very interesting story to follow down.
Well, in my opinion, there's not much chance of England making it anyway, Christoph.
Well, der Mannschaft auf Deutschland then.
Okay, very quickly, you were talking a little bit about this earlier. Poland and Ukraine, both former Soviet bloc, Eastern Bloc countries. Their history since that period has really been quite different.
Absolutely. It's striking to see these two countries, these two neighbouring countries, co-hosting the Euro 2012. Poland, fully fledged member of the European Union, regarded as a democratic and economic model for the rest of Europe. It's the only country which avoided a recession in 2010, quite extraordinary. And then side by side, Ukraine. So these are really two extreme examples of post-communist transition. Poland has always been an advocate of EU integration when it comes to Ukraine, and of course Polish organisers are really disappointed by the outcome of this Euro 2012. They really wanted to use this opportunity to put Ukraine on board, but clearly you're right, two countries with two different recent histories and two different paths.
Christoph Robiet, thanks very much for that look at the politics surrounding Euro 2012, which kicks off this evening. Do stay with us for a roundup of what will be happening on the pitch at Euro 2012.